faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird brain. It's a plane. It's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who, disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, this is Walter again, and I don't know how long my show is going to be. I'm going to try to keep it within, a reasonable time, because sometimes it gets a bit too long and quite boring. I honestly didn't know if I was going to do a show tonight. I was kind of hesitating to do so. By the way, I watched this film the other night. It was called, because I had to look up how to pronounce it right, and it was called Vampyr, because you can look it up. It's spelled Vampyr, based upon the original story, a book written about a vampire, not particularly Dracula. It was actually before Stoker, because Matt corrected me on that. I said Stroker before. It's not Stoker, it's Stoker. Bram Stoker's version of Dracula. It was actually I think 6 years beforehand, because it was actually in 1819, I believe, and it was called The Vampyr, which is actually just saying the vampire. I should have actually... But yeah, I think it was 1819. Now, the movie called Vampyr was actually done in 1932. So I shouldn't be doing this, but I am actually breaking my own rule of trying to type in while I'm recording, because it's not a really good idea to do so. So yeah, it's called The Vampyr. Well, it was just called Vampyr, but it's actually The Vampyr is the book that it was based upon. Now, the whole thing with vampires have, the whole myth about them and how it came about. That's a different story. But it could go back actually into the 1700s, from what I found out. Why was I watching it last night? Good question, Walter. Yeah, 1819. Publication was actually the 1st of April in 1819. That's when the book of short story, it says The Vampyr, is a short work of prose. No, it's not prose, but it's fiction written in 1819 by John Williams, taken from the story of Lord Byron, told as a part of a constant among whatever. But that you can look that up. But it is actually pronounced The Vampyr. I actually found a copy from the Criterion Collection. Hey, that's good then, because if it goes into the Criterion Collection, this film, which was made in 1932, that's actually a positive thing. So, sorry, I kind of moved away from my mic, so I sounded like, wait, what happened to Walter? So, yeah, I watched this show on Saturday night. A friend of mine and I, Matt, we went and seen this movie called X. We were talking about seeing it maybe last weekend, and then we never did, so we went just on Saturday night. And afterwards, I normally watch Sen. I can never say his name properly. Sem Ghoulie on MeTV, and it was like a repeat, so I kind of wasn't paying attention. And then afterwards, I went to a movie with a friend, and then afterwards, when I came home, it's like, wait, I forgot about the TV show I watch online, because I forget which state it's from. It's not from around here. And it's called Horror Hotel. So not to be confused with a movie with the same name, I just tell people horrorhotel.net. And I believe the main hostess of the show, I think she goes by Lamia. And apparently she picked that name because she tries to act like a vampire hostess. This young girl. Very attractive, too. But she had taken that name, believe it or not, because of that's one of the mythology things on vampires. The first one was named Lamia. I'm probably not pronouncing that name right, but yeah, that's the whole gist behind that. So I do have 3 more pieces of Matt's music I want to play for everyone, and I will kind of keep my segment short, keep this under 20 or 30 minutes. But yeah, hey folks, if you're into, like me, horror and stuff, it might be worth checking out, because some of it, even though it was done in the movie, Vampire was actually was made in 1932. It kind of reminded me like, wow, this must have actually influenced even David Lynch, which obviously was in 1932. But yeah, there were some specs in there that like kind of stuck out like, wow, I could see David Lynch watching this and saying, you know what, I want to make something that's kind of has the same feel of art and abstract visions in it. I don't know how else to put it. I'm not very good with my words. So anyway, hey, before I go any further, let me just play one of Matt's tracks. I'll start with one called Fire, because I don't think I played that last week. I actually had taken Matt's stuff and made a kind of a mix on the program I use, which is Audacity. So, oh, by the way, it was funny. I've been going back and forth because I'm a little bit leery about Apple stuff anymore after Jobs had passed away. Wasn't really impressed with the Mac Studio, but I've heard more good than bad. So I've been looking around because I might end up picking one up to do the rest of my podcast. Actually get back into the Apple world, because I'm not very fond of Windows. Even though Windows, everything you need to use has been developed for Windows on a home user experience. But if you want to get into more in-depth stuff, then you would probably use Apple. And I don't really do anything that spectacular at home. But I looked around, and I actually weighed out the price. It's hefty in one way and not so bad in another, because Apple stuff's always been expensive. Sorry, I did it again. I don't have my mic on a stand, so I keep on moving it away. So, yeah, the base model on the Apple Studio is $2,000. That's a lot of money. But if you look at an Apple laptop with lower specs but high-end for laptop, it would actually go into like almost $3,000. So, yeah. And these specs are actually pretty high for this Mac Studio, because they have a low-grade Mac Studio, which is actually really good. And they have a super high-end one, which is beyond excellent. But I watched a lot of videos and stuff, and some people actually said the high-end one is just ridiculously insane to buy, because unless you're doing, like, I don't know, some, like, scientific work, you're just wasting your money. But for everyday users, for even just video editing and audio editing, this one, what do you call it? This one person I follow on YouTube said, that is more than you need. That is fine. That's perfect. So I was looking around. Apple, again, it's like a $2,000 computer. Apparently Best Buy had them in stock already, even though they're not supposed to be officially shipped out until another 2 months. What is that? We're coming up on April, so May. But apparently they must have shipped out some early. That's how people are doing the reviews on these things. And one was actually already an open box returned at Best Buy. No problems with it. They checked it out. They put it like, yeah, it's fine, and we're just going to knock $100-200 off of it. More like $200 because it's like $1,800. Like, well, I get 12 months interest free. You actually at Best Buy, you can buy stuff, and if you don't like it, you can return. I've done this before. Hold on to it for like a good month, and if it's not what you're looking for, you just return it to the store. But it's a lot of money, but in one sense of the word, but in another way, if you use it and you like it, $1,800 is actually not bad. You're not going to get anything that high end for that price. So yeah, it's actually not a bad price, which I am actually contradicting myself from what I've said on a previous podcast. So, but I could change my mind again. I always do. So that being said, I will play Matt's first piece. Okay, that was Matt's Fire, I believe he called it. I don't want to really move things around, but I believe, yeah, it was called Fire. Yeah, it was. It was called Fire. That was actually pretty interesting, Matt, so I appreciate, again, you continue to send me little MP3 sound clips or whatever you have been working on. Hey, I mentioned earlier, me and Matt, I'm going to try to be careful with this mic. We went and seen this movie called, I was ready to call it Fire, but it was called X. It was supposed to be in the 70s. These people try to make a porn, and they go to this old desolate house. Is that the right word? Somewhere in Texas. And it's kind of an irony that they picked Texas because, to me, it sounds, maybe irony is not the correct word to use. Sorry, I did that again. I moved my mic down. But think about it. That's where, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it looked like the house from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But it also looked like, some of these other horror films that are kind of affiliated with Texas. Like, are people all God-loving, hate everybody else, hate sex, people having sex? I don't know. That part was a little bit, I don't want to say stereotypical, but it kind of, maybe that's what he was going for. By the way, the director was named Ty West, which I didn't really, the name rang a bell because I watch a lot of horror movies, and one that came to mind that it said he, directed was the sequel, which was god-awful. I hate to say it was Cabin Fever, too. Yeah, it was really bad. But Ty West, I think he did some other film work that I may have seen that wasn't actually that bad. The movie X was kind of interesting, but I think me and Matt kind of, after the movie was over, kind of agreed that was a little bit humorous in parts on what they were trying to portray as this old couple, very old couple, that were killing these people making a porn. So it was entertaining, to say the least. It really was. It was kind of an original idea, I guess, overall. The one thing that was kind of cool was, it was a very, very old couple, and it was kind of tongue-in-cheek humor where this really old woman was very horny, and she kind of was a peeping Tom watching these people making a porn at kind of like an outside shed house or something that was not adjoined to their main house, but it was like some place they're renting out for people who were looking for a place to stay. And this really rickety old woman was actually one of the actresses who they did a very good job with the makeup because the woman looked really crazy and old and scary looking. She also played one of the characters in the movie. And in fact, she played, believe it or not, she played a younger girl who was in making the porn. And the funny thing is, in the film, I was going to mention actually this to Matt, that this girl who played herself, or not herself, but a character that looked with less makeup on, this actress was being hit on, an actress within in a movie playing an actress as a porn star, was getting hit on by this old woman who was actually her. So she was playing two parts, an old woman and a girl in this pornography movie. And the funny thing is, she's creeped out by this old woman who is actually this actress is playing both parts. So it was kind of funny. The thing that really shocked me on top of everything else, because I'm a big person who likes British actors and things like that, this actress was also British, and you couldn't tell. You could not tell at all. So that was pretty interesting. Probably really boring to you guys. And you know what? I'm already actually at 16 minutes. Again, I want to keep these around 20, 25 minutes if I can. So I'm going to just play another song and shut up for right now. Apologize because I actually cut myself short on introducing the song of Fire. I'm trying not to do that again. And will lead us into what Matt titled, very simply, FMM. So FM, but with an extra M. How you like that? So let me put that into the mix of our show tonight. Okay, that was Matt's FMM. Matt gives me a reason, or he tells me the reason why he titles things what he does. But you know what? Quite honestly, I forget. So I know it's something with the notes or something. Dude, I'm not musically inclined. I apologize. And you know what? It's actually at 18 minutes now as we speak. And again, I want to try to keep these, I think, shorter will keep people's interest a little bit more so than me just babbling on. Because again, I used to make podcasts for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes, and me just talking and it gets boring. So I'm gonna try not to do that. Again, I would try to, if people check out that show. Like I said, I always thought it was pretty damn good with Lamia. I think that's, again, how you say her name on horrorhotel.net. And check out a couple of her older shows. Some of the stuff she shows she really likes. What is it? Silent films and things. And sometimes in Moir films, I believe they're called Moir. She really likes those. And sometimes they're really good. Sometimes they're a bit boring. I mean, you get that with anything when you kind of check out. Like most of these horror host fanatics, they do kind of stick with older film work. And it's usually what most people would consider B movies. Because I look up some of these movies, even from Lamia, on horrorhotel.net. And I hate to tell you, the ratings are generally pretty bad. Now, the one on the vampire, I'll just leave it at that because I've already forgotten how to say it properly. I think it was Vampire. Would probably be a higher rated film. The fact that it made it to the Criterion Collection really does say a lot. So anyway, just to wrap up the show real quick, the last piece from Matt, he did explain it to me, and God forbid I don't remember, but it's GB GBEC. So, not that it's important for anybody who may be listening, but if you really want to know, try to contact Matt Torrence at musicteacherguy.com, and his phone number and his info is on there. But he does make original music, I believe, and I think he does. He kind of begs to differ sometimes. He thinks he's probably ripping somebody off, but I disagree. Okay, that was Matt's last piece, GBEC. Now that was actually pretty damn good, and I might make that my my ending, for the end of the show at one point. Now I've already played it. Why play it again? It'd kind of be redundant, but that wouldn't be a bad piece. I really like that. I liked his other one, and I've used it for quite a few episodes. But you know what, Matt, again, I can't thank you enough because, I slapped this show together real fast, and your music kind of makes it a little bit easier for me to talk because it's not me just blabbing on about nonsense and not people not wanting to listen. Because I can do that for hours, trust me. I talk to myself quite a bit. Like even at work, I'm constantly talking to myself out loud. They used to call that, say, "Oh yeah, you're thinking out loudly." No, I'm actually talking to myself, and almost getting to the point that I want to begin to, or if I haven't, to answer myself, which is really bad. So anyway, everyone, thank you for listening to my show. I try to do them once a week, especially now that I'm plummeting more money into better equipment, or back to the Apple atmosphere that I once knew and love. I seem to be going back in that direction. So I need to kind of make some use of this stuff. My only problem is, and this will be my last note, I don't know if when I would be doing shows, if I have enough material from Matt, or even if I have anything I want to, mention. But otherwise, it's going to be really difficult because I might be working crazy hours, and I'm just not going to have the energy to do so. Anyway, have a good night, folks. Thank you for listening to me. Please check me out. Mention to other people, even mentioning to people about Matt's music, because I really like it. I think he's a good guy. So kind of help me out, try to help him out too. Again, it's musicteacherguy.com. His name's Matt Torrence. And if you live in the Philadelphia area, and you want to learn an instrument, he would be your go-to guy. So just want to let you know, and have a good night.